We're deep into October, and unless you've been living under a rock, you can't miss that Halloween is almost here. Pumpkins are carved and glowing on doorsteps, chocolate bars are stacked by the gross in every store, and your neighbor's spooky lawn decorations are giving local pets a fright. With the crisp chill in the air, October 31st is fast approaching, ready to add a dash of spookiness to the fall season. But did you know Winnipeg has its own haunted house downtown, and the people who run the house are fully embracing the Halloween spirit? That's right. The Dalnavert Museum at 61 Carlton Street is fully welcoming the Halloween with a series of events that celebrates both the Victorian era and the house's haunted history. From haunted history ghost tours and Victorian-style tea parties to readings of Edgar Allan Poe and the interactive Dalnavert Mystery Adventure, there's no shortage of fun activities for both kids and adults. It's the perfect way to get into the Halloween spirit, spend time at the Dalnavert Museum, and immerse yourself in the atmosphere, history, and moody charm of this historic home. And joining me here in the Classic 107 studio to talk about Halloween at the Dalnavert Museum, I am joined once again by my friend Sarah Watkins, the Executive Director of the Dalnavert Museum. Hey Sarah, great to have you back.
Hello, happy to be here as always.
Okay, so for as long as I've been aware of the Dalnavert Museum, it's always done an amazing job celebrating Halloween. It just seems so perfect as an old Victorian era style house. Do the volunteers at the museum enjoy coming up with new ideas to celebrate the occasion?
Absolutely. Halloween, for many of our volunteers, is a highlight of the year. Right now, if you come and visit, you will find all kinds of decorations, not just in our visitor center, but in the house itself. We've got cockroaches and mice and rats, and even our resident skeleton, Mabel, who is currently stationed in the house, and she actually gives me a fright every time I have to open the house up because I think it's a person sitting there.
I was reading, and apparently Dalnavert House it's supposed to be haunted. Stories of Agnes MacDonald roaming the halls in Victorian garb. Do you find yourself ever spooked out being in parts of the museum while you're working there?
I mean, it's an old house. It makes a lot of noise, creaks and groans and things. And there are lots of stories that I have heard from lots of different people about different spooky things that have happened. So much so that we're actually, we're in a couple of books of ghost stories. I myself have only had one kind of weird incident since I became executive director. And I mean, most people could maybe explain it away with science, but I was standing in the kitchen and the taps turned on all on their own in the kitchen.
Wow.
So that was a bit weird. It made a big mess I had to clean up, which I wasn't so excited about. But I don't know. That's the only real spooky thing that's ever happened to me in the last couple of years. So.
Mm-hmm. So I want to turn over to the many events that Dalnavert is hosting. Firstly, can you tell me about the Death at Dalnavert tour that's happening?
Yeah, this is our seasonal tour for the month of October. It's all about Victorian customs around death and dying. So the way that we treat death and dying is very different than the Victorians. You've probably heard of things like wakes, where they would actually have a body displayed in the parlor of the home. There were all kinds of superstitions that the Victorians had, like covering up mirrors with black cloth or having to kiss the person even after they've died so that you wouldn't have dreams of them, things like that. It's a really great tour to explore all of those kinds of cultural norms from the Victorian period around death.
Mm-hmm. And who's going to be leading the tour?
So this is our volunteers. So we have a large group of volunteers that have learned this tour. So depending on what day you come, you'll get a different expert who's been practicing and learning all of the information.
Mm-hmm. So that is Death at Dalnavert, and those tours are happening mostly on Thursdays through Saturdays for the rest of the month, although there is a tour happening on the 26th. Then you've got the Haunted History Ghost Tours this Thursday and Friday, the 16th and 17th. The tour embraces the haunted history of the museum, including a trip to the basement. What is the basement like at Dalnavert?
Yeah, so the basement used to be part of the tour. A few years ago, we had to close it off just for some safety concerns because obviously the stairs just aren't very safe. But it's pretty spooky. I mean, kind of what you would expect from an old house. It doesn't smell super great. I mean, you never know what you're going to find down there. There's lots of boxes of old stuff and, different decorations and things from prior years at the museum.
Mm. Can you talk about the tour guide, Matthew Comas? Am I saying that right? Who is he, and why is he leading this tour?
So Matthew Comas is actually not just a tour guide, he's also an author. He wrote the Haunted Winnipeg and Haunted Manitoba books. And so he's a great a friend of our museum, and he has partnered with us to present these tours. He also does ghost walks throughout the month of October as well. So he has a whole plethora of knowledge about ghosts, not just at Dalnavert, but in Winnipeg. And so he's actually the one who's written this tour for us that is going to talk about the different ghostly experiences that have taken place in Dalnavert and some surrounding areas.
So the Haunted History Ghost Tours sounds super awesome, and that's happening on the 16th and 17th. Then on the 18th, this Saturday, there is a Haunted Halloween Tea Party for kids. What can you tell us about this event?
This is going to be really fun. We did Haunted Halloween Tea Party last year, and people had a blast. It's got games and activities. I think this year we're doing a bone hunt in the house where you have to find different parts of a skeleton. And then there's going to be some tea, obviously, some crafts, some different activities. Really, this one is our family-friendly event geared towards 6 to 12-year-olds and their parent or caregiver. So that'll be a really fun way to experience the house in maybe a little less of a scary way, more of that fun kind of Halloween spookiness.
And so there's going to be snacks provided as well for the kids?
Yeah, absolutely. With the tea portion, there'll be some munchies, and we usually do little treat bags for the kids too.
And the kids can show up in costumes, obviously.
Absolutely. Our staff will also have costumes on that day.
And I'm presuming the children need to be accompanied by a parent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you can have multiple kids with one adult, but we do recommend 6 to 12 years old. Yeah.
So that is the Haunted Halloween Tea Party. That's happening this Saturday, October the 18th at 1 p.m. Then later in the day, starting at 6:30, there is an event geared more for adults, The Secret Inspectors, a Dalnavert Mystery Adventure. This is an escape room type event. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so in the past, we had a sort of escape room themed all around Dracula, and it was a huge success. People loved it. So we wanted to do something similar. It is its own thing, though. Instead of escaping from Dalnavert, you're actually trying to solve a mystery about a ghost who is attached to an artifact in the museum. So teams compete. It's timed like an escape room would be, and you're trying to solve all the clues and figure out who the ghost is and what the artifact is before you run out of time.
And then to sort of add to the party atmosphere, there's drinks and snacks provided as well,
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So that's a Dalnavert Mystery Adventure. That's happening this Saturday night at 6:30. Then you have an event. When you first told me about it, I thought it's perfect for Dalnavert. You've got Poe in the Parlor on the 24th and 25th, starting at 7 p.m. This is a straight up Edgar Allan Poe reading, perfect for Halloween. He's so associated with spookiness. Is the parlor going to be lit up in a special way to sort of help enhance the reading?
So one of the really fun things about all of our Halloween programming is that we're not usually open after dark. During the summer, obviously, it doesn't get dark till quite late. So just being in the parlor after dark, even with all the regular lights lit up, the Victorians really like moody lighting, and dark colors. And so even just with all the regular lights that we have during the day, it's quite dark and moody to begin with. We will, of course, add some battery-operated candles. Can't have the real thing, unfortunately. Don't want to burn the place down. But it'll definitely have a very sort of dark and dreary atmosphere.
And who's going to be doing the readings? And do you know what poems they're going to be reading?
So I don't want to spoil exactly what we're going to be reading. I think I want to leave that for a bit of a surprise. We are going to have multiple readings throughout the night. So we have a couple of our volunteers who have been practicing their, theatrical readings. Some of them have theater backgrounds, so I think it'll be really a lot of fun. I think you're probably guaranteed to hear The Raven. I think that's Edgar Allan Poe's most famous poem, but maybe that's the only one I'll give away.
So that is Poe in the Parlor. That's happening on the 24th, the Friday, and Saturday the 25th. Then on Halloween, you're starting at 7 p.m., you have a Victorian Halloween Bash. What kind of games and activities are going to be done at the bash?
Yeah, a lot of the things that we think about as Halloween are not things that the Victorians would have done. So it's going to be different types of games. weirdly enough, ghosts weren't really a Halloween thing. So that's more of a Christmas thing in the Victorian era. Very strange, but that's a tangent. But fortune-telling games and some parlor games. But we also are going to be carving turnips, which I think is really fun. That's actually in Europe. That's what they would have carved. Here in Canada, obviously, we have access to pumpkins. But if you think during the Victorian period, pumpkins are a North American plant. So getting pumpkins in England and Ireland, where Halloween originates, not so much. So the original tradition was actually to carve turnips. So I think that'll be really fun. I don't think many people can say they've ever carved a turnip for Halloween before. So make sure you get your tickets for that one.
And is it just, can they decorate the turnips as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of idea as a pumpkin, except obviously, the pumpkins, you pull out the guts and you kind of can put a light inside. With the turnips, it's a little bit different because you have to do more actual carving to make an area to put the light in. But I think it'll be an experience that you won't soon forget if you carve a turnip with us.
Yes, and of course, as always, because it's Halloween, people can show up in costumes, right?
Yep, for sure. I think we might even have a costume contest kind of deal going on where the best costume wins a prize. And then, of course, there will also be, a bar with cocktails and that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Sarah, this has been so much fun having you in to talk about the Halloween at Dalnavert Museum. We have just touched the big events, but there's also the lantern workshop, the ghost painting, the Dress to Grieve lecture. There's no shortage of things to do at the house leading up to Halloween. Where can people go to find out more details and find out cost and times and dates of events?
The best place is always to go to dalnavertmuseum.ca and then click on our events page. But if you want to find out ahead of time, obviously not for this year, but you can also always sign up for our newsletter because we send out all the information there. And that, again, is on our website.
Sarah, this has been so great. I hope the events at Dalnavert Museum are jam-packed with visitors and the volunteers have tons of fun hosting the events. Thanks so much for stopping by and taking the time to talk to me today. It's been great.
Thank you so much.